Hello, welcome to part two of the movie clip. Apologies for sort of wrapping that last one up too quickly. As I've probably mentioned before, the recording software I use has a limit of 15 minutes, and I briefly looked down and saw that the video was about to end. So just to quickly review, we have four steps of our bird here. He's up, he's in the middle, he's down, and he's back in the middle again. Remember, Flash, regardless of movie clip or sort of main timeline, this is going to go directly back to that first one. So we kind of end up, just moving it manually here with this movie clip moving a little bit fast. What I'm going to do is actually sort of, I want to see this thing work. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the scene, and it says drag the bird movie clip from the library onto the stage. I want to see this thing, and I want to see if my movie clip, and this is often something you might do, test your movie clip just to see if it looks good. So there we go. We have the bird moving. Okay. Now we need to sort of make it move in the sense of left to right or right to left, and we're going to do multiple versions of this thing. Okay. So it says, and I've already done a little bit of this, create a motion tween from frame 1 through 60. Frame 60 should have the bird off to the stage left. So we're going to sort of start this guy. Step 41, position the movie clip off the stage on the right hand side. And we have some room over here, which is great. I'm going to create a motion tween. I'm going to click on that frame 60, and I'm going to have him fly over this way. Okay. You'll notice that when you pull this, it's not going to play the movie clip. It only shows you the first frame of that. However, if I were to test this, and you can sort of test this yourself, you'll see him flying. Okay. I'm going to position, remember we can always sort of change. We have this keyframe here, and I think he's a little too low, so I'm going to move him up, and he'll adjust accordingly. Okay. Now, steps 43 through 45 are simply creating another one. So it says insert a layer, insert a keyframe at 30. Okay. Create a motion tween from frame 30 to 90. Frame 90 should have the bird off to the stage left. So we're just going to have two birds flying by. And we just want to practice this, and we're practicing the motion tweens. So I'm going to go to frame 30. I'm going to grab that bird movie clip, put him down, create a motion tween. And again, this should be review, and that's why I'm doing it. So we have a second bird. Okay. So we can sort of see, I grab my playhead. I have two birds going. Okay. So steps basically 41 through 45 are sort of repeats, or they're sort of two sets of birds flying from right to left. We're going to change a couple things in these next two, starting with step 46. It says insert another layer. Layers are very, very important. I can't stress enough how organized they're going to sort of help you be when you get to your more complicated movies. And it says insert a keyframe at frame 60. Okay, go here. And it says this time place the bird movie clip on the left-hand side of the stage. Okay. Now we're basically doing the same thing, but we're going to have this bird fly from there to there. Now back to this idea of this movie clip, and let's be efficient with how we work with it. The efficiency is that I've done this work. Why not sort of create as much complexity visually as I can, simply by altering the movie clip that I've made. Okay, and what we're going to do here is it says make sure you have it selected with the selection tool, and it says choose, modify, transform, flip horizontal. So I need to make sure it's selected. Modify, transform, flip horizontal. We have him now facing this way. Okay, now all we need to do is create a tween between frames 60 and 120. All right. We have this, then we have that. Okay. Clear that keyframe. Okay. So three of the same tweens. We've modified that one to flip it horizontal, so we have it moving from left to right instead of right to left. You'll see their overlap. Next week we're going to get into sort of filling this in so we can sort of create depth and sort of three-dimensionality. Last thing we're going to do is going to be making sure, sorry, I'm looking at my step-by-steps here. Next thing we're going to do, is insert a new layer, and we're going to sort of modify this bird in a little bit different way. So it says insert a new layer, and this is going to be the last of 4 layers. And it says insert a keyframe at frame 90. We're sort of moving 30 keyframes or frames up. So we're going to insert a keyframe and create a motion tween from 90 to 150. 150 should have the bird off to stage left. So we're just kind of repeating what we did on the first ones, and you'll see the difference here in a second. So I'm going to just do this. Click on this guy, move him right here, and I'm going to put him down the bottom right. Create the motion tween. And lastly, while I'm on that frame 150, I'm going to move him, and I'll do him sort of diagonal this time. Okay, so sorry, just setting that last one up. He's going to move diagonal. Okay. Now we need to move on to the step 53. It says click on frame 150. It should select the bird, which is off to the stage left there, which it is. And it says click the free transform tool. This is the sort of third tool in the toolbox, and that creates this bounding box around our bird. Okay. The good thing about a vector graphic is we can scale it, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to hold down Shift. If we don't hold down Shift, we get some manipulations we don't want. I'm going to hold down Shift, and this thing is going to scale proportionally. Okay, this is a vector graphic, and we're sort of able to scale it up, and that's a good thing. We wouldn't be able to do that with pixels. Otherwise, we sort of get an image that starts to break apart, and it is not as accurate. Okay. Last thing it says is if the movie clip re-enters the stage due to the size, position it off stage again. Okay, so that's what I did. And we're going to just quickly test this movie. So we have first bird, second bird, third bird, and then here comes our first bird that scales along with that tween. We've set keyframes. It's a certain size here, and it's a certain size here. And the motion tween sort of makes up those in-betweens. Okay. Now, this is sort of the basis from which we're going to play with next week. Next week, you're going to get your first project. Next week, we're also doing an exercise called Timeline, where we're going to add things to the timeline. We're going to create depth. We're going to talk about making scenes. Right now, we only have one scene. So it's very important you get this idea down, because next week is going to be the basis from which a new exercise, a bigger exercise is going to grow from, and also you're going to get your first project. Okay, so save this as your first name, last name, movie clip. Remember, and I've had a few, I mentioned it in the first video, I do not want your FLAs. I want your Swift files. Okay, so when I test this, when I control test movie in the folder that I created this FLA, this file exists. David Luke _ movie clip.swift. Okay, most of you handed in your Swifts, a few of you did not. Make sure you hand me your Swifts. Okay, rarely am I going to watch your FLAs. I only watch your FLAs if you're having problems with the project and you need me to look at it. Okay, so get these in the week 4 Dropbox, and again we'll sort of move ahead with another exercise next week.